Chair, I move the board vote to approve the meeting minutes from the December 11th, 2024 Joint Economic Forum as presented.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't have any corrections to the minutes, but what is the follow-up with this?
So I think we were waiting for CMRPC to provide some recommendations to us as far as their
Yes.
recommended next step.
Yeah, I can check with Lori Connors too,
Okay.
because, yeah.
Yeah, great. And there was also some discussion, has it been, we've
Yes.
set a date.
I'm
Tell us
pretty
about that meeting.
Yes.
This is just a in parallel follow-up, not a direct follow-up to that meeting, but something in parallel, yeah.
So I did manage to get, I think, pretty much everybody to have the economic development follow-up meeting on Thursday, February 27th at 6:30 PM. And that will be at the library, and you'll also have the option to attend via Zoom.
Oh, okay, good.
Is that good for, I think I was waiting to
That would
hear.
work for me.
Okay, and Laura, you can check?
I'm gonna check.
Just get back to me, and Mike.
Yeah. So that will be, so the financial boards are going to be part
And
of
the
that.
financial, appropriations and financial planning committee.
Right, so this is more on the financial end of economic development rather than on the construction end
Right.
of economic development, and they all sort of tie in together. So it's another important piece in understanding how we might move the town forward there. That's good question, Julianne. Okay, motion's been made and seconded on those meeting minutes. We have not yet voted. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, I see that as unanimous. And for folks watching at home, Lisa Maselli is a little under the weather and not joining us this evening. Next up, we have the meeting minutes. We are being recorded. I think I mentioned that again.
I heard it.
Yep, can't hurt to say it more than once, being recorded. Which is generally obvious to people, but you still need to say it. Is there a motion on the January 27th, 2025 meeting minutes?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I move the board vote to approve the meeting minutes from January 27th, 2025, as presented.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. All those in favor? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say?
Aye.
I hear that as unanimous in favor. Meeting minutes are approved. Thank you very much for the staff members who work hard on the meeting minutes. Next up, we still have no guests, either in person or remote, so I'm not even going to open the public comments yet unless I see anybody. So we'll just keep moving along. Review and approve the legislative priorities letter. So thank you. Di, you did that work on, thank you very, very much. I know that was a lot of work. We had a lot of items, and great job making it both longer and shorter at the same time.
Thank you.
And I wanted to thank Diane for all of her work on the electrical aggregate, which started way before my time,
Yeah.
so, thank you.
I feel like that is very appreciated.
Yes.
Thank you
Yeah.
for everything.
One of my first big projects, so I'm
Yeah,
excited.
yeah,
Yay.
took a lot.
That's why we had the sound effects.
Yeah.
All right, so we have about 3 pages of a letter that will be sent to our 3 state legislators as well as the governor's office in advance of meeting with them in March. Not the governor, but our 3 state legislators. So I want to make sure that everyone's input is part of this letter, that nobody had anything additional. There were a couple of items that I think we're waiting for at the end. So at the end, it says Julianne traffic cameras and Laura cybersecurity. Do we have anything else on either of those 2?
I think
Want to flesh
Julianne
that out?
actually is.
Yep.
So I sent
That
out.
was your cue.
If you research, her proposal, they all pretty much say the same thing, but if we agree that we think that the traffic cameras could help with, traffic and speeding and reducing accidents, then I'd like to ask our legislators to support her initiative.
I think it's good timing that the governor proposed something specific at the same time that you were bringing this forward, so that gives us something specific. I don't know what the bill number is, but that's,
I don't think it's a bill number.
I think
It's built into her budget.
That's right, you
somehow.
filed it as part of the budget. So we could just refer to it as the the traffic camera program
Initiative or something?
as proposed by the governor.
It's
Thoughts?
very benign. I mean, it's, your first infraction, there's no fine, right? Then it's $25. In our town, I figure we could only have 3, but that has to go before a board, I think, right?
Yeah, it's a very soft-pedaled approach
Yes.
into this, which is probably the right way to do it. So, are people comfortable including
Yes.
that on the letter? Okay. And then, Laura, I know you had a lot of interest in cybersecurity.
Yes.
I don't know if we heard of any specific initiatives, or,
I know that David Kane received a grant for around $23,000 to implement the cybersecurity training for all of the staff. So the state basically pushes out modules and you can complete them at your own pace and, yeah.
so,
I don't have anything specific,
okay.
but if there is something that would help him, then.
Okay,
And I
I'll
don't know
let
if he
him
came
know.
back with anything.
I reached out to him. Yeah. He didn't really come back with
Okay.
anything, but I'll follow up.
I don't want to make extra work.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
okay.
The only one I was gonna ask is, I know we had talked about the Aqueduct Trail. Would that fall under support for Trails for All initiatives? Or would that need to be its own item? Aqueduct Bridge, making it
yeah,
walkable
I'm-
through MWRA?
I'm glad you brought that. I would like that to be its own item.
Okay,
Because it's not just a state policy
Okay.
and law, and Trails for All and funding, but it's working with MWRA
Yep.
and so forth in terms of gaining access and the ability to actually turn that into a trail,
okay.
which is, will probably require some nuance and help from our legislators.
Okay.
Is it possible to add that in then?
Yep, could be, okay, great.
Yeah, we
Thank
had
you.
some emails back and
What about the topic that Chief Parenti came in and talked about how basically insurance companies can kind of stiff Northborough for their ambulance costs, passing it on to the insured, where he's capped at what he can charge,
Yeah.
but there's no mandate that they have to reimburse at some level. And I know I don't have the details,
Yeah.
but
I like the idea of fixing that. I don't know how much of that is state versus federal insurance laws. It's a good question.
I can follow up with the fire chief.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure he would probably know more offhand. I would assume it would be state, because most insurance is state law.
Are we,
And then we'll just push the answer out tomorrow and
Okay.
you can decide if you want to add it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to clutter it too much, but,
If he
we
thinks
had a
it's
specific
worthwhile.
discussion about it, he brought it up, we asked.
are we comfortable with something like that being added to
Yeah,
the letter?
absolutely.
Rather than, I don't want to get into open meeting law questions or anything.
Oh, that's true.
Like, if we're interested and supportive in general, we can do that.
And Diane, you were going to ask if, or we were going to find out if the legislators are going to do office hours before? You know how,
Yep. Yeah, we can ask them. I don't know. I'll talk to Linda about that.
okay.
Encourage that, because, yeah, I remember they used to do them. They were attended. People came and took advantage of it. Okay.
On the permanent extension of remote meeting provision,
Yes.
I mean, that's in there, that's great. Could we add something specific regarding to get something passed well enough before it expires? Signed by the governor by the middle of March, which would be a stretch, because we're meeting with them in the middle of March.
Right.
But something like that. And every time I talk to our state reps and our state senator, I mention the same thing.
Yep.
That from their perspective, they may think, oh, as long as we do this on the 31st of March or the first couple of days of April, it's fine. But we get into posting problems in advance of that. That, even if it's just a simple extension while they still figure out what that permanent law would look like, not leaving gap.
When does it expire exactly?
End of March,
End of March.
yeah.
Well,
And-
this- oh, sorry.
Yeah, and everyone seems to say, yeah, of course, it'll be permanent.
Right.
But there are different ways of making that permanent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, back a couple of years ago, the House and the Senate each had different ideas, and they punted by getting a long extension. Well, that long extension is here, and they still haven't
Right. I
decided
know.
anything.
Everyone's so used to it.
Yeah, 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 so it's
It
really.
doesn't hurt anyone. It
Right.
it promotes participation because
Yeah.
some people can't get out of their house or.
Absolutely.
Is this, so I think, I'm sorry I don't have my computer, but was there another email that went with the Massachusetts, the MEA? The government
Oh.
efficiency?
Yeah.
And there's some things that were tied into that, and I don't know if I saw
Yeah,
that in
you
the packet
asked
or
about
emails.
businesses in town, right?
I thought it was,
No, is that something else? Hold on, I'll see what.
I thought that there was something at the state level. And I don't know if it should be, I don't think it's something that would fall into the,
Oh, the Municipal Empowerment Act.
Yes,
A bill that
thank you.
promotes efficiencies in local government,
Yes.
reduces regulatory burdens, and
Yes.
provides tools for communities. So it's, you know, again, it's back to the remote public meetings. That's to codify it, update enforcement mechanisms for double pull violations.
Yep.
Reforms outdated procurement rules and
Yep.
thresholds, which would be great.
because that'll raise that number.
Yes,
Yeah, maybe just an item to support the governor's municipal.
okay,
Yeah,
I think I did that in the last one, like towards the end.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
That's
We
great.
put, so we're gonna put that back in.
Yep.
yeah. And that covers some of the other things that
Yes.
are in there too. But
They did ask for a letter of support.
to the MMA,
They wanted it sent to, our state legislature.
Yeah.
So we can just add that
Yep.
in. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
good.
Super.
Are there any other items that anyone wants to add to the letter? I think we've got a good list.
Yes.
Are
I
there
like
any
the
items
that are on
that,
it.
are there any items that anybody wants to take away? I don't think so, but offer that opportunity. Okay. It might be good when we meet with our legislators to each have a couple of items that we sort of
Want
we
to
pitch.
champion?
yeah, so that we would go around the room, and, you know, Laura, you would say two things, and Julianne, you would pick two things. Not to decide that now, but in the back of my head, when we've done this, we've kind of said, here's a big list, any questions? And it might be good to start off in, you know, 5 of us, two items each, that's 10.
I like the idea of
Yeah.
going through it that
I mean,
way.
or is there even like top 5 priorities? Maybe just do one each?
Yeah, you know.
Kind of
either-
really focus, like, this is what we want, because
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
specifically
to
talked
each,
to it.
I'm guessing we would have a hard time narrowing it down to 5. We could do 10, I mean, you know, and just spend a minute on each, saying, you know, this is why I think it's really important to make the open meeting law provisions for remote meetings permanent. And, you know, pitch that for a few seconds with some knowledge, and, you know, Laura, you'd pick a couple, each of you, you know, and sometime before that meeting, we can just decide which couple of items each of us want to champion.
I like that idea.
Okay,
Or we could text you and say, I want
Yeah.
this one and that one.
yeah,
Okay.
I said, this is our first March meeting.
Okay.
So, that's right? First
the
March
first
meeting is when we're
March?
meeting with them.
Let me see the,
Yeah, March 10th.
yes. And we'll also invite the school department, school superintendent
Okay, oh, good,
to attend.
okay. So we can give him a couple also, since there's some school
Yeah,
items
there's
on
a
there.
couple for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Okay,
Excellent.
all right,
Thank
so
you.
maybe at our next meeting, or even in between, just the assigning is not a violation, because we've already chosen
Yep.
what we're
That
gonna
sounds
do
good.
here. We'll get that figured out, and that will make that process a little bit more orderly and maybe a little bit more effective.
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Very good.
Do we need a motion?
I would love a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to approve the legislative priorities letter as present.
How about
As
as amended?
amended?
Yeah,
Yep.
Anyone?
Second.
Help me out here.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor, say aye. I see that as unanimous. We still have no attendees, so, you know what, I'm gonna open public comment, so nobody can say we didn't have public comment. Is there anyone who wishes to offer us public comment, either in person or remotely? Seeing none, public comment is closed. Vote on subcommittee recommendations for appointments to boards and committees. I am so excited every time we have new people or people expanding their roles. The interview committee, thank you very much, interview committee, to,
It was Laura and
yeah.
Mike.
Yes.
Yeah, for making those interviews happen, and I assume that both of you are supportive of all of these recommendations here?
We eventually got there, yeah.
Okay,
No, I just want to say, it was the first time I've been part of that process, and Mike did a great job kicking it off and organizing it. The candidates were great. I thank Angie for all her help, making sure it went smoothly.
The organization, and that's all Angie.
Oh, my
she's
gosh.
like-
Yes.
But it was good, trying to make someone feel comfortable in an environment like that where it's being recorded can be a little bit daunting. But I think we have two really great candidates for the committees. It was nice having the committee chairs participate to answer questions and just kind of guide that discussion as well, so.
yeah, and I'm very happy to see, Judy, who's been involved in a number of things, formalizing her role on these two boards, and Amanda, who I don't remember if Amanda's been on the public board before. Historic, that's right, yeah, of course, I just watched that meeting
And
just the
she's
other
grown
day.
up in
Yeah,
town, so I
yeah,
thought it was
Yeah.
neat. She's
Yeah.
grown up with the library.
Yeah, yeah.
And she has a
And I-
good idea of.
And as soon as I saw her name, it was, because I'm
Yeah,
also
her
on the
maiden
library
name's been in
trustees.
town, I
I'm-
think, since the founding of it. So.
Yes, so, I'm very excited to have Amanda.
And they've got neat backgrounds that
Yeah.
are gonna bring some really, some neat experience to help complement these boards.
Okay.
So if anybody else is interested in
Yeah,
volunteering.
there's always more vacancies, so please.
And we have, we have a little bit of a better idea of how to,
Yes, yeah.
at least for me,
Yeah.
to be a part of that process.
That's great. Okay, let's see, is there a motion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to appoint Amanda DeRosa Millette to the Library Board of Trustees for a 3-year term to expire on April 30th, 2028, as recommended by the Interview Subcommittee.
Second,
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Technical question, so the motion is for a 3-year term, this is technically like 3 years and a couple of months, that's okay, correct?
That probably should say a partial is usually what I would do, to just finishing out someone the term.
Okay, so is this now just a partial term expiring this April 30th, and then she would get on the list, or do we say this, or do we do this as,
Three-year term to expire April. Actually, let me think about this for a minute. This is not right,
okay?
Would it be,
because that would be more than a three-year term.
Right, that's
Yeah,
my,
yeah.
like,
So-
that might be right for that position, but it would be 3 years and a little bit more, so,
I'm like a news anchor, I just read it, I don't know what it's.
I think it would be okay to move the board vote to make the appointment, and then the appointment letter I need to double check
Okay.
that and
All
make
right, so we-
sure that it goes with the vacancy.
gotcha. So we leave out,
For a 3-year term to.
yeah, for a 3-year term expiring on such and such a date.
Trying to find I thought it was in the original
I
agenda.
know, I do remember seeing that.
But if we leave that out, Diane can sort that out.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I changed the
Yeah.
amendment to what, I'm sorry?
I move the
Change the
board
motion.
vote to appoint Amanda DeRosa Millette to the Library Board of Trustees as recommended by the Interview Subcommittee.
All right. So moved?
Second,
Okay, and I'll consider the prior motion withdrawn. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Say aye. I see that as unanimous in favor. Congratulations and thank you, Amanda. Is there, it looks like we may have,
I would recommend the same.
yeah, let's do the
motion
same.
page.
this is another partial term?
I'm
We
going to
just
determine that.
omit the
Yeah.
for a 3-year term to expire on?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to appoint Judy Boyle to the Master Plan Implementation Committee as recommended by the Interview Subcommittee.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor, say
Aye.
aye. I hear that is unanimous. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
Judy, is there another motion?
Mr. Chair, I move the board vote to appoint Judy Boyle to the Youth Commission as recommended by the Interview Subcommittee.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, say
Aye.
aye. I see that as unanimous in favor. Congratulations and thank you again, Judy. And it's great to get another new member on the Youth Commission after their part of the reorganization, and I'm hoping that board is off to exciting things. Next up, we have reports. Are there any reports this evening? Mike?
I do not have any reports.
Okay. Julianne, any reports tonight?
So I have something pretty exciting to tell everyone about. The Northborough Garden Club is celebrating their 100-year anniversary this year.
That's amazing.
That
Yeah.
is.
So check their website for special events, but one that's coming up is April 12th. It's going to be a public reception featuring a flower and photography show. So that's number one. And number two, community outreach for the Blake Street project. That meeting will be Wednesday, February 26th at the library, also at 6:30 PM. So please come and see some of the ideas for Blake Street. And that ends my report.
I lied, Mr. Chair, I do have some reports.
Yes, okay, sure.
Kindness Week is kicking off. So we have coming up, well, we had one on Friday, on Friday. And then on Saturday, Monday was today, Tuesday, 2/11, there's an 11 a.m. coffee hour with Chief Griffin and Select Board members Lisa Mazzelli at Arrow Coffee. Hopefully Lisa's feeling better and can attend. Wednesday, 2/12, we have an 11 a.m. drop-in Valentine's Day dessert social at the Senior Center. Saturday, 2/15, we have from 5:30 to 8:30 a chili cook-off at Trinity Church. And on Monday, 2/24, a 9 a.m. Chief Parenti and Select Board Chair Mitch Cohen, our own Mitch Cohen, at Arrow Coffee. So
Thank you. Okay,
make sure I got that in there.
all right, any reports tonight?
I left everything at home today, but I'm working with the Community Affairs Committee to do Kindness Week next week at the dugout. So once that is confirmed, I'll make sure to let you guys know, but I appreciate the work that,
Have you been in there yet?
yes.
That's a pretty neat place.
Yes.
Yeah, that's unique.
I'm not good at it yet, got a lot of
I
practice.
haven't tried, I got a nice tour, but I have not
Yeah.
tried it yet.
I'm very excited.
I will at some point. That conclude your reports?
That concludes my reports.
Let's see, I attended a tour of, I'm not remembering the name of the school, an elementary school in Westboro that opened about 3 to 4 years ago. That is the first net positive green energy school in the state. So they actually generate more electricity than they consume, and in the 3.5 years they've been open, they have yet to receive an electric bill. So they gave a tour that was hosted by their sustainability committee and a couple of other groups in town. The lead architect on the project was there, someone from Sustainable Westboro was there. And there were probably 100 people in the audience that went on a tour of the building. It was really good. I saw a few other Northborough people there, including one other member of the Peaslee School Building Committee.
Great.
Our friend and frequent guest Doug Stone was also there. And it was really good to see a very well thought out building that focused from the beginning on reducing the cost of energy for a building. And they really did an amazing job, and obviously thinking about that in terms of what it might mean for the Peaslee project as we're at the very, very start of that. The timing worked out very well, and thanks to our friends in Westboro for inviting us. And I was also going to mention the community affairs, their Kindness Week kickoff event was just prior to this meeting at the library. And there were a lot of kids painting rocks, or magic markering rocks, to keep it a little cleaner. State Representative Kate Donahue was there also. She and I painted some rocks together. It was, really fun. Yeah, I think I said vote smiles, and she was vote kindness. It was Where are rocks? And those are the only two report items that I have. Stephanie, any reports tonight?
Yes, so of course, we're involved in fiscal year '26 budget season right now. Financial Planning Committee schedule as follows, on, what's the date today? Oh, the 10th. Okay, tomorrow we have the planning director coming in and CPA. The 25th, we have DPW and Enterprise. March 11th, Police and Fire. And then appropriations, 2/13, we have Planning Director and CPA. 3/4, we have School Department, Assabet, and DPW's pending right now. 3/18, we have Police, Fire, Finance, and Undistributed Expenses pending. We already talked about the Joint Economic Development on February 27th, 6:30, at the library, right? Okay.
Yes.
I screwed that up. Get it right, library. All right, Lori, the planner, Scott, the DPW director, and I met with Mass Development to discuss potential funding opportunities in the area of Route 9 corridor. DailyMail.com out of the UK wrote an article on White Cliff's history. News is spreading fast on that historic icon.
International.
Yes, international, we're so popular.
Bids from the royal family.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, they sent tea. Department of Public Works, Northborough requested Mass DOT consider installing rectangular rapid flashing beacons at unsignalized Route 20 crosswalks last week and into this week. Traffic counters have been set at these locations in response to our request. Health and Human Services, the Northborough Family Shelter at the Econo Lodge had an increase in families and individuals due to a recent flood at the Milford Shelter. There were 18 individuals that are there now in total, 110 individuals, so 37 families. Making Opportunities Count, or MOC, continues to oversee and staff the site in collaboration with the state. The town clerk will be attending the States Association Winter Conference this week in Devens. Senior Center, I'll be meeting with the Council on Aging to discuss budgetary matters tomorrow before I go to financial planning. Police, the police will hold a two-hour workplace safety violence presentation for the town hall staff sometime in March. Planning, Phase 1 of the downtown streetscape improvements, preliminary budget estimate by Beta Inc. is estimated at $1.8 million plus final engineering. I just went on, we already spoke about interested candidates for planning. Library, KP Law sent along guidance for the American Library Associations, which you can go over. Fire, pre-bid conference and site visit will be on February 12th at 2 p.m. at the Future Fire Station. Bid forms and contract docs are available online at www.projectdog.com on Wednesday, February 5th at 2 p.m. local time. Electronic bids for filed sub-bids, trade contracts designated may be submitted online in accordance with the procedures set forth in instructions to bidders until 2 p.m. local time on Wednesday, February 26th, and publicly opened forthwith online. Electronic bids for the general contractor designated may be submitted online in accordance with the procedures set forth in instruction to bidders until 2 p.m. local time Wednesday, March 12th, and publicly opened online. Recreation, on January 13th, there was a walkthrough at 4 West Main Street to determine if it would be a suitable location for the rec department or any of our other staff that doesn't have sufficient homes. There were some outdated pieces of the building that will take a significant examination by a registered design professional. Some code issues were with the structure, weather tightness, egress, sprinkler and alarms, emergency lighting, occupancy and use issues, calcs for egress, ventilations, bathroom counts, configurations. Just to see what it would be, we obtained a quote from Icon Architecture, and in order to do the design plans, the architectural services estimated around $43,000 for a conceptual design. So we're spending more focus on what needs to be done to get in there safe, and a lot of it had to do with all of the new building codes and the fire codes. So once everybody left, now to be able to go in and occupy, there's changes that have to be made. So that's kind of the bummer. I was hoping we could just do a little patch paint and new carpet and have rec go at it, because the kids, they'll throw balls against the walls anyway. So we're looking more into that. Meet and greet on February 4th. Mitch had me in to the Northborough Rotary Club. They were very nice. And Diane and I attended Kindness Week for coffee and company at C'est La Vie. And that was great, too.
Friday.
Yeah, Friday.
Excellent. Diane?
I have no report.
Okay.
I forgot one thing.
Sure.
DPW did an amazing job with cleaning the streets.
Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
excellent.
Yeah, seriously.
Yes.
Like the only thing on social media that everybody is like, great job. you know.
Yeah, yeah.
It's funny,
Good to hear.
at our last meeting, we had a DPW item,
Yes, on snow budgets.
So I, in anticipation of Scott coming to our last meeting, which I thought would happen, I asked, hey, can you give us a rough update on snow and ice budget? And he put together a nice memo for us that said, we're doing great. And he ended up not being able to come to the last meeting, so that was just distributed to us electronically, and then we had 2 snowstorms since then.
So
So
how's your
so I'm not
budget
asking
now?
the question.
Yeah, exactly.
expected.
Just keep it at, we're great.
Yeah.
I mean, is our snow budget gonna be okay? Because I think there's a couple more storms coming.
It's gonna
Yeah,
go.
we're
It's probably over.
Yeah.
Is it? I get.
This is a yearly dilemma. Yeah.
That-
And even, it's just even the pre-treatment costs us more than the actual
More than
snow.
plowing.
Right,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Thank you, though. They did a really great job,
excellent,
and it was a long one, so.
yeah.
And that reminds me, also thanks Scott and DPW staff. I know they're working on some things on like the Otis Street, where it turns and kind of goes down by the pond. Some issues with groundwater and refreezing and stuff, that they're trying to find a solution for. So thank you for the efforts there as well.
That's tough.
Yeah, drive carefully, especially when it's icy outside.
Yeah.
I want to call out something that you mentioned. I appreciate that the fire station bids are open.
Yes.
We've gotten some requests for people, hey, can we review the final, the final drawings and all the bid specs and things like that? And that's at that projectdog.com, which is a silly name for actually a really good company that helps with municipal projects. I've used them before.
Yeah, that's great.
So anybody who is interested in seeing the whole, I think it's 1,400 pages, something like that,
Yeah.
can just create a free account at Project Dog, and they'll be able to see every last little detail of what the Fire Station Building Committee has been working on for the last couple of years, and keep all our fingers and toes crossed for successful bids when they come in very soon. Okay. Future agenda items, does anyone have anything to add that's not on our list? Julianne?
Well, again, are we going to have a discussion about moving elections?
Yeah, so,
Yes, yeah, I was made privy to that. I didn't know the background and, yeah.
so I know.
So you're saying the locations?
Well, we have heard some very, I think, very legitimate concerns from parents about getting the elections out of the school. And if we can, well, and you had pointed out at some point with early voting and online, absentee ballots, can some place like the senior center accommodate, especially, like the May elections?
Okay, yeah, I'll have to talk to Andy more on that.
Andy's on vacation until
Yeah.
almost the end of February.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Using up them days.
Yeah, yeah, this is important.
I know the school department would prefer we didn't
Yeah.
have to shut down school.
Yeah,
you
so,
know.
Right.
so, and this goes back
Yeah.
years prior to you joining us, of
And maybe
course.
because the mail-in ballot, we can't, it was great when I went to visit, because everyone's in one location, it makes it so easy, but if we could find another space, like,
Or multiple spaces. I know clerk's office would prefer not to have multiple locations, but
It's harder on Andy's office, it is harder on voters who are now used, like, they've forgotten how to figure out where to vote,
but
and,
the cafeteria wasn't, it's not that big, I'm picturing the senior center. I mean, I think we
yeah,
could
so,
do
so
something.
when we discussed this last, 18 or so months ago,
Yeah,
the senior center was brought up as probably big enough of a building to
Right.
handle it. You know, you open up that cafeteria space, I think, is probably big enough. Parking, the parking lot is smaller than the Melican parking lot, and there's only one drive in and out.
Okay.
As opposed to Melican, which has through. So there are some constraints on that. Not saying that it's a non-starter, but that's a downside of using the senior center. You know, ultimately, Melican is of town-owned buildings, that's the best. It has significant drawbacks where either you're impacting the students getting dropped off and picked up. There are a lot of parents that are concerned about security and safety of their kids while they are there. And/or the option for closing school. And because Northborough and Southborough schools are all interconnected and always have the same calendar.
Right,
If you're
yeah.
going to close school in one building, you're gonna close school for 9 buildings.
yeah,
And Southborough also has their elections in a school, but that school happens to have a different layout, which my understanding is not as impactful on students in that building when elections are held there. So there's a lot of back and forth. We did get a letter from the school committee requesting that we consider alternate locations. And
Okay.
It was about 18 months ago. We said, you know what, let's get through the presidential election year and then regroup. So
Okay.
we have to have that discussion. This board committed to having that discussion.
yeah, I think it's a worthy discussion to have.
And there isn't an easy answer for it, because there is no town-owned building that can easily just snap our fingers and do this. You know, maybe for the local elections, maybe one building could handle it, but then do we want to have confusion of moving things around election to election? Probably not. And then there are outside-the-box things of, you know, do it at Wegmans. I know Worcester has some of their election places at grocery stores.
oh, really?
And, you know, we've never talked to Wegmans about this, they may not want the idea.
They're tuning in like,
But like,
what?
on the right.
Wegmans has its hand up. I don't know how-
Yeah, on the right, their large cafeteria area, if you will, the eating area.
Yeah.
Is pretty big.
Yeah.
And maybe that's, you know,
We
something
have
we can
4
work out.
precincts? in
We have 4
Norfolk?
precincts.
And so so prior to the consolidation to Melican, there were 4
There were
voting locations.
each of the 4 elementary schools was it, and because it's based on like 4,000 or 4,500 per precinct, I think it's unlikely that we would move to a 5th anytime too soon. So I think, you know, we think about it as 4 precincts with, everyone would be better off having it at one place. So, yeah, so that's that. And the next election that would impact the schools would be the May local election, which school is in session that day.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, I mean, the data on early voting that we have, and we have I don't remember the percentage, but we have a pretty good percentage
Yeah,
of voters that take
pretty
advantage
high.
of it, that maybe that opens the door to either it being less of an impact at Melican, or there are more options on the table for viability than there were the last time we talked about it.
Yeah.
So,
And Andy would know best,
Andy would
so,
have
yeah.
that data. So we do need to have that discussion.
Okay,
So do you want to wait until Andy returns?
I think we
or-
have to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so maybe the first meeting. in
Yeah, so I would suggest that maybe the two of you speak
Yep.
with Andy, obviously, school superintendent, and police chief.
okay,
I think a meeting with that group would would provide a lot of insight in all sorts of different directions. And then we would have to have that meeting and, probably invite the school superintendent and the school committee, at least the school committee chair, to discuss. And there's no easy answer to it, but it's our
Yeah,
job, the
try
tough
to get
stuff.
crafty.
Yep.
I have another request.
Sure.
So a while ago, Doug Stone brought up the idea of having a building inspector look at our buildings to make sure that we, are seeing any problems that could be addressed and eventually save us money. And we never really talked about that, I feel.
I know Doug, Scott had Doug come into the office and he showed him our software system, how they track maintenance issues for our buildings, including, I think, efficiencies. Yeah, and I think he was satisfied with it.
Oh, really?
I thought so. I think I would have heard, but maybe not.
Because I recall when we did discuss it briefly, that it was, that system that we have doesn't necessarily look at, oh, you've got this much time left on the roof, and, it was more involved with,
He does log all of that, and it's a very detailed system, which is why I think Doug wanted like a print off, and he's like, if you want a print off of this, it'll be.
A million pages,
Yeah, a
yeah.
million pages. So I think he understood it once he came into the office and he kind of sat behind him and looked through a few things.
Okay.
and- So it definitely logs and it gives dates when the next maintenance should be for whatever it is, HVAC or filters or.
okay. Okay.
Very good. So that ends future agenda items. Public comment, is there anyone in person or remote that wishes to offer comment to us at this time? Seeing no people that could offer comment, I will close public comment. Any other business before us tonight? If not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned, 9:37 PM. Vote was unanimous. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful night.
Good night.